Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was not a movie I think I would ever make a video about, but I just got done watching it, and it was really good. I mean, that's not really a big surprise, considering how big of an impact Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse had on the animation and film industry. You see lots of movies sort of being inspired by this style of animation and how successful it was. One example off the top of my head being Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, having its own stylized look to it. But this is a movie that when I was going into it, I was kind of like, okay, this should be like a fun little thing to watch with friends. But I didn't expect to be like really into it, right? For those who don't know, I don't really care that much about Marvel properties. Superhero movies, I just don't really care that much about them. I don't really know. Avengers, I've just never been able to get into it, right? It's just not for me. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's just not something that really appeals to me. And when I first watched the original movie back in 2018 or whatever, when the movie came out, I watched it with some friends, and I was just kind of like, okay, I mean, that was a fun movie, but I didn't really think too hard about it, right? There was so much talk around the movie and so many memes and just so much discussion that came around it, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, from a casual perspective, I thought it was a good movie. I personally wasn't really blown away. I thought it just had fun characters, a good story, really good animation. It was just a good time. And I kind of was expecting the same thing going into this second movie, but it's a lot better. Just so much conflict. First off, it's a very long movie for an animated film, like 2 hours. And it's also just really good at adding in so many different levels of conflict. And I want to make this clear, like a little disclaimer. I kind of mentioned this before, but I'm a very casual viewer when it comes to this. I am not like an insane Spider-Man fan. I don't know all the lore and references. I know there's like a few memes that are included in the movie, some of which I don't fully understand. No, seriously, guys. What the heck is a Bully Maguire? But it's cool to see that there's like lots of references. There's definitely like lots of care put into this movie, and it's super impressive. And there are other videos out there that are probably going to be discussing like each and every little thing. I'm sure people even discuss the production side. I'm not really too knowledgeable about like the production side of this, but I just want to make it clear that going into this little mini review or rant, I guess, that this is just me casually talking about the film. That's it. Nothing really too crazy, just kind of talking about it. And I think people that aren't even fans of Spider-Man can watch this movie and just have a really good time. It's got such a good protagonist, a really good deuteragonist, really cool villains. There's like, oh my gosh, the villains, dude. The villains are really good. Something that I really love is just good villains. For example, like people always trash on recent Disney villains, because like some of the recent Disney villains, like come on, man. They're either obvious, boring, they don't really have anything interesting about them, but this movie balances multiple villains really well, and some going in from like my perspective, right? I didn't really know anything going into this film. Like I saw a couple memes and I saw like the poster. That was it. That was like my entire knowledge going into this movie. And my original plan for this video was to kind of just go over the plot and recap it, maybe dive into like a little bit of analysis about like what I thought. And I've actually recorded this segment. This is my 4th time recording it. I realized that since I've only seen the movie one time and I can't like go back and watch it unless I like were to go back to the theater again, I realized that I can't really do the movie justice, like kind of recapping the plot and like going into like a super deep analysis about like what I really thought about the movie, like to its deepest core, because I'm kind of just going off of my memory of what I saw in the theater, because there are definitely going to be things that I missed, right? Obviously on rewatch and on multiple consecutive rewatches, you're gonna notice more things. You're gonna notice more Easter eggs, more cool animation moments, and more moments in the writing where things really stood out. But I kind of just want to talk about like the things that I really enjoyed the most. And obviously, I think like at the forefront, it's got to be like the animation. It's just incredible. Like the opening act is so good because you have like this monster that appears. I don't know what it is from. Maybe it's like a previous Spider-Man villain. I don't know. But it's like straight out of a painting, and the way they animate this villain, it's like it's so well animated that it looks like it almost belongs in the world, but also doesn't. You can tell it's like not from this world, but the way it's animated, it just like meshes into the world so well. It's like straight out of a painting, and it's so good. And like another really good thing was like near the ending, there's this scene with Gwen, Spider-Woman, interacting with her dad, and like the way they like how the background set up in that scene is like, oh, it's so good. It's literally so good. Like they just, I don't know how to describe it, but like the backgrounds of the movie, they just kind of mesh with whatever the characters like are trying to convey or something. It's weird because the backgrounds aren't like solidified. Where you think about, like, you know, a movie's like you have a scene in a house, right? There's a scene that takes place in a house, and you could just have the background of the house, right? That's all you could have. It could be like dark or like cold colors to represent something that's like, you know, a little eerie or sad. But no, this movie like just kind of is like, yeah, you know what, we're just gonna like put in like our own backgrounds. Like it kind of like transitions from different colors as the characters are like talking with each other, and it's like, whoa, that's actually like so cool, dude. The movie and the way the animation works goes so well with like the writing of the movie. Like I've heard people say the phrase style over substance before. I see people talking about that with like plenty of movies and plenty of like games and whatnot, where it's just like, oh, well, it has a really cool style, but you know, the writing is meh, or like this is meh. This movie like is good at both. It's like good at everything. It's got good writing and good animation, and it ties both together really well. Like it is a movie after all. So using like the abilities of these people, which by the way, there's like, you can tell the amount of passion that goes in this movie is insane. It's like, I want to say, like, it gets me hype, right? As somebody who is like not in the film industry or anything, or like isn't, you know, a big Spider-Man fan, I got like super inspired to want to create something at that level. And obviously, like, this is like a movie that's made by so many people and whatnot, and there's like lots of passion from many different people going into it, but you can see that passion is like, it's contagious. And that is something that I love when it comes to media and stuff, where you can see the work that people like put into these things, and you're like, wow, that is so cool. And then it like inspires you to do the same. You know, it's like a cycle of like inspiration. They didn't have to make it like super stylish and have it like be super substance. They could have just gone like the Illumination route and just been like, yeah, Spider-Man. Could have rode off the tails of the Spider-Man name alone, but no, they like went above and beyond. And I don't want to like spoil anything. This is a spoiler-free review, or I guess more of a rant, honestly. This is more of a rant than a review. But I guess another thing that the movie does really well is it balances the characters really well. Like, obviously you have like the main two being Miles and Gwen, but then you also have like Peter from the last movie shows up. He was in the trailer, so it doesn't matter. You have these two other Spider-Man characters that show up as like allies to Miles, like somewhat throughout the film. It's the Indian Spider-Man named Paviter, I believe. And then there's Spider-Punk, which, dude, the way Spider-Punk, I think his name is Hobie, I forget off the top of my head, but the way he was animated was so freaking cool. Like, dude, I don't know how to explain it, but think of it like graffiti punk style, like almost comic booky. I guess everyone's kind of comic booky, but like imagine like a mix of that style, and it's just come to life. But it's kind of like how the monster at the beginning of the film worked, where it was like you could tell it was from a different world, but it meshed so well with like, you know, being in like a regular sort of world. That's what Spider-Punk is too. And like apparently the way that he was animated took like 3 years, I think, to animate, and it's like, that's crazy, dude. 3 years just to work on that. And like another thing, there's like a big old chase scene in the movie too. I think that was in the trailer, where it's like it shows scenes of a chase of all like the spider people chasing after Miles. And that also apparently took like 2 or 3 years to animate. And it's like, jeez, that's crazy. There's no way the freaking next movie is coming out in 2024, which, oh man, the next movie is gonna be crazy good. They did so much good setup in the movie too. Like the movie is so good at having like its own, I guess, arc. Mainly for Gwen. I won't go too much in it, but like Gwen has like a really nice arc in this movie, and it really does a good job of like setting up the next one too. But like the whole movie is it's just so fun. And I think like I'm not the only one, because like this movie made me care about Spider-Man. And like I said earlier, I've like never really cared too much about like superhero movies. It's always been like a thing that I went to because my friends did as well, or like it was the popular thing, so I was like, okay. And like I thought Spider-Man, I was like, okay, Spider-Man, that's cool. I mean, what can I say? It's Spider-Man. And then I saw this movie. I was like, yo, I get it. But I think just because animation in general just speaks to me a lot more than live action movies. Like I don't know how you could watch any live action movie and then watch Spider-Verse and be like, oh yeah, that live action Spider-Man was better. It's like, this is clearly like just so good. It's just godlike, dude. And this movie just made me care about Spider-Man. I never really cared before, but now I'm into it. I get it. Like this is so cool. Now I'm just excited as everybody else to watch the next movie. But I think I'll leave it there. I've been trying to get this freaking review out or rant out for like, I think like 4 days at this point, and I've recorded this stupid video so many times because I just wasn't happy with it. But I figure I just wanted to get this out there, wanted to talk about the film because I just wanted to, you know? I wanted to talk about it. So even if this isn't the greatest review of all time or whatever, I wanted to get it out there. So please let me know your thoughts on the film. I'm curious. I'm very curious. I'm sure everybody unanimously thinks it's good, but like, you know, maybe let me know what your favorite part of the movie was, or what your favorite character was. I don't know, something like that, or what you're looking forward to in the next movie. And if you're gonna leave spoilers, make sure to keep like a little spoiler tag for other people who haven't seen the movie, because this was a spoiler-free review. So definitely make sure, if you're gonna comment, make sure to let people know if there's gonna be spoilers under your comment. Anyways, that'll be it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.